spending is not limited at the operational level by taxing. Now, if you spend, does that mean you can spend all you want? Absolutely not. If you spend too much, you're going to cause inflation. You're going to drive prices. The limits, but you're not going to bounce checks. Social Security checks are never going to bounce. They might cause inflation, but they're not going to bounce. The next question is, well, why does the government tax if it doesn't need the money to spend? It's just changing numbers. One reason, to regulate our spending power. Okay. If the government didn't tax anything, okay, then our spending plus the government spending would drive prices through the roof. Think of us all as shopping in the same department store. They spend their $4 trillion, we're not taxed at all, we spend our money, you get inflation. The purpose of taxes is to take away some of our spending power so that when we all go shopping, we have the right amount of money to buy. So that we clear the stores, but not too much, not too little. Right now, we don't have enough spending power. People aren't able to buy what's for sale in the stores. People aren't able to make the mortgages. The proper thing to do is to lower taxes so that it restores the take-home pay of people working for a living and allows us to have a normal economy. It does not interfere with our ability to make payments. And I'm going to wrap this up by just telling you why it is we don't owe China. Well, this whole China thing is complete nonsense. And let me start by saying, China doesn't start off with any dollars. And by China, I mean anybody that, any of the foreign countries. If I use China, that's the example in the news. China gets their dollars by selling things at Walmart and Target and the other department stores. Their dollars then go into their checking account at the Federal Reserve Bank. The Federal Reserve Bank has checking accounts for all the governments in the world. I know, I talk to the people, I know how it works. Okay, that's China's savings. They don't want to spend the money. They want to sell us screwdrivers at Walmart, take the money and leave it in the Federal Reserve Bank. They have another choice called the Treasury security. Treasury security is nothing more than a savings account at the Federal Reserve Bank. You give it, some of you might own Treasury securities, you send the Federal Reserve Bank money, you get it back with interest. It's the same as a savings account at any other bank, except it's the Federal Reserve. They put a fancy name on it, they call it a Treasury security. When China buys Treasury securities, we simply take the money out of their checking account and put it in their savings account. And that's called funding the national, that's called adding to the national debt. Call it whatever you want. Call it a banana, I don't care. It's taking the money out of China's checking account and putting it in their savings account. And how do we pay them back? The same way we pay back everybody. There's $13 trillion in savings accounts at the Federal Reserve. As soon as they mature, we take the money out of their savings account and we put it back in their checking account. And that's what our fathers did, that's what we do, and that's what our children do. It has nothing to do with the person, and that's called debt management, by the way.
So that we have an opportunity to ask you questions. Could we open it to questions now? I'd like to begin when I can. Are you affiliated with any modern political movement?
Other than the Democratic Party?
Other than no. Okay. Just whatever.
Right. But I do have several universities that understand this now. They're spreading it out, teaching graduate students. And there's quite a few people in the financial sector that I've got thousands of people on my blogs, that understand this. They've said to me, look, you've got to go get a platform for this, because right now we've got 20% unemployment. Nobody can break this juggernaut. Yeah.
I think it's great. You're going to decrease taxes. How are you going to pay the national debt?
Okay.
How are you going to come to the Federal Reserve? Maybe there was a little bit of that economics. The Federal Reserve is good for any benefit. That's how we're going to get it forward.
Okay, so what you're trying to do?
How are you going to make all the government obligations that we have today and that we will have on in the future if we don't tax?
Right. Okay.
You just can't cover it up. You say you're going to not tax. Where is people going?
Okay, no, I didn't say not tax.
Other thing is, you talk about China. China has been doing the right thing for China. And they have, God knows how much of the budget deficit that we have with all national debt. They have the Federal Reserve notes, right? So you can take the Federal Reserve notes today, tomorrow, and turn them into gold. Where the hell are we going to be in this country if they do that?
Well, they can't do that at the U.S. Treasury. They have to go in the market and buy it.
They have dollars that my God, they have dollars that would buy the whole country to do it.
Well, they whole country. Maybe they could buy Bridgeport.
Well,
They have,
you gotta look at these statistics because
no, China has $2 trillion in reserves, and they also have $650 billion in debt, in dollar debt, but whatever. But China's money is sitting in their checking account at the Federal Reserve Bank. And if they, and that's how it is. When they sell us products, that's where the money goes. It has no other existence. I know, that's what I do. I talk to the people, I know how it works.
I don't know who the hell you're talking to because it doesn't work.
Well, Brian Madigan at the Fed, Ms.
It's
Reinhardt.
a dollar for a Federal Reserve note, it's spendable, it's fungible.
Yeah, a Federal Reserve.
That could be converted to gold or come in and.
I think actually,
Okay.
Bill, this is a really complicated subject, and if we could move on to any other questions.
Let me just say, the hardest part is reconciling this with bits and pieces you've heard elsewhere. I mean, I think people can understand how it is as simple as it seems. Government spends by changing numbers up, and taxes by changing numbers down. There's a squirt people, yes.
I know your website describes the Tea Party Democrats.
Right.
Could you explain what that means?
Right. In other words,
That was really the basis of my question,
okay.
too.
Well, I've given this address to James Galbraith, Professor James Galbraith, progressive economist, and they all support it. I get support from Dean Baker at the Progressive Economic Policy Institute. He's endorsing me. Bill Black, top Democratic regulator, endorses this. I've had other people I know ask me to give this. They said, I think this address fits with Tea Party values, which are, anyway, so they had me.
Their analysis?
Yeah, they had me, so they invited me to Dallas. Actually, I've been to certain others, but the big one was in Dallas. And I went to the Dallas Tea Party Leadership Group. I gave this exact same address, and they thought it was right, okay? And it's about, it is how the economy, it's like, there is no objection from anybody on either side. This is not philosophy. This is not theory.
It's mathematics.
Yeah, it's accounting. This is how the economy works.
Can you say that?
I got masters in accounting. I've taught at several universities in this country and abroad. And your plan doesn't work. It doesn't work.
You say you see yourself affiliated with the Tea Party only on financial issues or any other social or political issues as well?
Just on the economic agenda. I'm running on my economic agenda. Socially, I'm a Democrat. Okay, and they're basically Republicans. I'm pro-choice. And, you know, but what I found is quite a few other people, and in fact, the New York Times wrote a good article today, and there was one last week about progressive Democrats now finding common ground with Tea Party. And it's not the thing you're seeing in all the headlines on Fox News or anything like that, but it's absolutely happening. It's more of a populist type of movement where they are upset about their money being wasted by big government on what they see as being wasted on the government bailouts, even when they see the healthcare plan, what bothers them the most is they feel some kind of a cabal between the drug companies and big business and government getting together at their expense. They feel that they've been putting money into Social Security all their lives, and all of a sudden it's on the table. And right now we have a bipartisan commission that was set up to balance the budget, and they're not going to report till after the election. It's already been determined that on the table is Social Security and Medicare. Now, why did the Democratic administration cut Medicare and this health care bill? What was that all? It's because they thought they were out of money. What I'm saying is we're not out of money. We didn't have to do that. We are going against our core values and our core agenda on a mistake because we think we've run out of money. And there is no such thing. We think we're dependent on China, which there is no such thing. Before we did health care, the president flew over to China to talk to our bankers, presumably, to make sure that there'd be confidence in the dollar to do this. They know that that's not the case. I've met with Chinese economists. It was 10 years ago in New York. They know how it works. They know that we don't owe them anything but a bank statement. And if we lose the bank statement, they have nothing. But they know we don't know that, and they're just playing us for fools. Okay, and I'm running as a matter of conscience because I know this. I'm trying to get the message out, get to a position where I can do some good